Hello, wonderful people. It's Malcolm Lovejoy, Adam E. Stewart, aka Lovemonger, here again to help open your heart, help make your life better, and help expand your mind. Here's a little more from Sexual Choice. It's a very, very interesting book. I figure we might get deeper into it because it's just getting juicy. Thank you to those who read the last two chapters that I read and listened along to them. So come while we go deeper into female choice, a biological mandate. It's really, really where it's getting good. I was never very good with men. As a tall, skinny teenager, I nurtured an intricate crop of romantic fantasies, but blushed and lowered my head in a hopeless confusion of longing and anxiety if a real live boy happened to glance my way, let alone say hello. A common tale. Once I reached adulthood, my track record with men improved for reasons that I didn't fully understand. Even so, I watched the apparent ease in which other women drew men towards them and wondered what charms they had that I was somehow without. So many people wonder such things. My mother always told me that nice girls didn't chase boys. And until I conducted these interviews, at some level I believed her. Heather Trexler-Remoff, the author of this book, very much wrote that. So let's dive in deeper. Despite what our mothers told us, nice girls do chase boys. Let's just rip that Band-Aid off. Let's get it out there. Let's just tell that truth openly and clearly. Nice girls do chase boys, and they do it so cleverly that no one, not even the target male, fully understands what is happening. And there is the rub. That's the trick. Even more amazing, a woman is not necessarily conscious of her own skills in this area. She does not have a formal set of strategies, but she does have strategies. These strategies give her choice, female choice. Female choice, a term familiar to most biologists, means that the female of a species is more selective than the male in choosing a sexual partner. This does not imply that the male has no choice, nor does it lessen his role. It simply means that it is predominantly the female who does the choosing. And as usual, female, male, trans, these are all nebulous, arbitrary terms that can apply to all genders of human beings to a degree. But generally, we're going with kind of cisgendered-ish women and cisgendered-ish male. But, trans people and non-binary obviously have male and female traits that all of this information applies to. There. I digress. Most people are willing to accept that this might be true among some bizarre members of the animal kingdom, but few have considered that it might be the female that does the choosing in human populations. In fact, one of the women that I interviewed was quite vocal in wishing that females had the right to make the choice when it came to selecting male partners. What was she thinking about, of course? What was the supposed ease with which a man can pick up the phone and ask a woman out? I say supposed because for the women sitting at home staring at the telephone and willing it to ring, the alternative of placing the call seems astoundingly simple. But that does not mean that it's easier. In fact, if it is ever easy at all, it is probably because the woman in question has made it so. It is probably because the woman in question has already chosen the man. The ways in which women do this are complex and not highly visible, but that does not mean that they are not real. Sexual selection in Darwin. Charles Darwin saw sexual selection as one of the forces behind evolved change. He buttressed his theories with direct observations of animal and human behavior and with correspondence with others in a position to have made such observations. In The Descent of Man, he says, the general impression amongst breeders seems to be that the male accepts any female, and this, owing to his eagerness, is, in most cases, probably the truth. Whether the female, as a general rule, indifferently accepts any male is much more doubtful. Darwin recognizes that male-male competition is dependent on the operation of female choice if it is to exert a selection pressure. The males which conquer their rivals do not obtain possession of the females, independent of the choice of the latter. The female. Darwin, in his keen observations of female behavior, avoided one of the pitfalls common to male scientists, too few of whom even look at what women are doing. However, not even Darwin was perfect. Terrific as he was at figuring out what female-eared seals might be doing, he wore the familiar blinders when it came to the human case. at least when he was observing the human case in his own society. He gives numerous examples of female choice in cultures other than his own, but believed that the mechanism was no longer in operation in civilized cultures. Darn Eurocentrism. Bash it away. Anyways, let's read what Darwin had to say. With respect to the other forms of sexual selection, with which the lower animals is much more the common, namely, when the females are the selectors and accept only those males which excite or charm them the most, we have reason to believe that it is formerly acted in our progenitors. But this form of selection may have occasionally acted during later times. For in utterly barbarous tribes, the women have more power in choosing, rejecting, and tempting their lovers, or of afterwards changing their husbands, than might have been expected. Interesting. As this is such a point of some importance, I will give it in detail such evidence as I have been able to collect. Hearns describes how a woman in one of the tribes of Arctic America repeatedly ran away from her husband and joined her lovers. And with the Charuras of South America, according to Azara, divorce is quite optional. Amongst the Abipones, a man, on choosing a wife, bargains with the parents about the price. But it frequently happens that the girl rescinds what has been agreed upon between the parents and the bridegroom, obstinately rejecting the very mention of marriage. Wise woman. She often runs away, hides herself, and thus eludes the bridegroom. Captain Musters, who lived with the Patagonians, says that their marriages are always settled by inclination. If the parents make a match contrary to the daughter's will, she refuses and is never compelled to comply. Word up to that freedom. In Tierra del Fuego, a young man first obtains the consent of the parents by doing them some service, and then he attempts to carry off the girl. But if she is unwilling, she hides herself in the woods until her admirer is heartily tired of looking for her and gives up the pursuit. But this seldom happens. Interesting. How could Charles Darwin be so clever at seeing what women were doing in Tierra del Fuego, but blind to their ploys in suburban London, England? The answer lies in understanding one of the mechanisms of female choice: unobtrusive enactment. I wanted to just say that with as much meaning and verb as I could, because we got to pay attention here. The answer lies in understanding one of the mechanisms of female choice: unobtrusive enactment. Unobtrusive enactment means that female choice is most effective as a technique when the men upon whom it is being practiced remain unaware of the strategies employed. Unobtrusive enactment. Ooh. Pay attention for it in the world that you walk out into today. Maybe you're trying to practice some of it as soon as you're done reading this and hearing this. Maybe you're already doing it right now. To me. I digress. There we go. I had to be real careful not to let Larry know I was interested. Well, actually, that's not right. I had to let him know I was interested so he'd be interested in me, but I couldn't let him know I was after him or he'd get scared off. The dancing rituals, the mating rituals, the tricks and the tricks and the tricks. In light of unobtrusive enactment, it is understandable that although Darwin was an acute observer of female choice in other species and cultures, he was unaware of it in his own. He should not be judged too harshly on this account. In our admiration of him as a brilliant theorist, we sometimes forget that he was, after all, a man. So yes, that's all I'm going to read for today. Thank you for listening. I hope that you observe some of this in your world that you go experience today. And I hope that you reflect upon it, and I hope maybe helps your emotional intelligence expand that much more. And the end result of bringing love closer to your life or deeper into your life. I want that for you. And I hope that you want that for everyone else too. We're going to keep reading Sexual Choice because this is some interesting shit. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace from Love.